Hi, welcome back, you beautiful souls. This will be part 0B to the new What If Deku Was a Perfect Vessel, titled The Children Meet Echo. A week after the incidents of the previous episode, where a visitor from a different era, or a master of sorts, left the message that he'll be there in person. A couple of days before a week has passed, Inko receives a phone call from a lady saying she's from the National Japanese Investigative Bureau, like their national, which for U.S. Or the or Europe, it's like an NSA slash FBI representative of Japan. So that being said, the lady tells Inko that she'll be there in a couple of days. Explains to her that they will pick them up and they will bring them to a building to discuss the logistics and get Inko to fill out some paperwork. And the lady profusely apologizes for Mr. Master's behavior. They were actually going to approach her today about this and possibly seeing it, but the cat's kind of out of the bag now. She explains that the government has a program, and Deku has, just from the interactions, Mr. Masters says, the lady says, Mr. Masters jumped the gun. He was supposed to talk to a school therapist to see if he meets the psyche eval for the program the government's going to initiate. So the couple of days pass. Inko is kind of worried. She's like, this, and the whole week Deku's been like, Mom, I'm gonna have a chance to be a hero even without a quirk. And this week has kind of made Inko kind of like think maybe she should see this out. But then after speaking with one moment, after speaking with Miss Sato, Inko is a little bit more open to the idea of Izu getting some special training or something. And so after the next 2 days, when she's waiting on a ride, a woman, the doorbell rings, but over these past couple of days, Deku has, Inko has been asking her sons, like, do you really want to be a hero? And he's like, yeah, Mom, I want to be a hero. I really want to be a hero. And she's like, well, sweetie, I'm going to support you in this. If this is something you really want to do, then I will help you out as much as I can, baby. So the doorbell rings. Inko goes, and when she opens the door, there's a lady in a business suit and two officers in formal wear. And Misato bows and presents her business card to Inko, and Inko's like, "Oh, so you're Misato?" And the lady says, "Yes, we're here to get you. Mind you, we have another family with us." And Inko yells, Deku, they're here. And this Deku comes running down the stairs. It's like, yes, it's finally gonna start. And when they get out into the car, Deku, he looks across the cabin of the limousine type vehicle, and he sees a gentleman, an older gentleman, and then next to him there's some floating clothes, and Deku freaks out, and Misato explains, like, oh, these are the Hagaguris. This is Mr. Hagaguri, and this is young Toru Hagagiri. And Deku's like, after the initial shock of seeing the clothes, he's like, whoa, your quirk, it's amazing. And the child speaks, and Deku's like, and she's like, I can't see myself anymore. And Deku's like, well, that just means you can hear better than I can. And Toru kind of feels a little bit embarrassed about this, but you can't really tell that she's sort of blushing, like an uncomfortable blush. So during the ride, Izuku is talking with Toru, and Misato is explaining to Inko and Toru's father that this program, they're going to be going there, that they have a nursery for the children, while a government representative and a representative from the hero organization is there also to explain the program. So once they get to this building, they enter, and Misato says, from this point out, I will have to bid you farewell for a while. I have a couple more of these arrangements to go and set up. So a gentleman comes out, and he's like, oh, Miss Midoriya, Mr. Hagagiri, this way. And the gentleman says, I believe Misato explained that the children will be put into the nursery, and we'll discuss the requirements and what we will offer your families on top of this. So during this, full stop here for a moment. In this one, Inko, like Hasashi Midoriya, is actually overseas, like in canon. So Inko has already called her husband up, and Hasashi thinks this may be a good opportunity for Deku if he actually is, for his little Izuku to actually fulfill his dreams. So after the children go to the nursery, the gentleman says, this way, and leads them down the hall to another door. And when they enter in, Inko sees a man that has like bright orange-red hair sitting there in a suit. And there's a blonde woman with blue eyes sitting across. And the gentleman says, please take your seats. At this, a door opens up, and a couple of people walk through. There's a strange look. There's a strange man with white hair, and then there's another man with another man in a business suit, who has a pen that denotes him being a representative of the hero agency. And then there's a military-looking person who comes in. And mind you, this is a military facility, so at the gentleman in the business suit introduces his associates, and they get into the meats of it, and they explain that the nursery is technically the first test to see if their children are appropriate. And they explain that their children have been selected because of a certain genetic traits, and also their innocence of wanting to be a hero. That being said, we cut over to the nursery. You have Inko and Toru just kind of hanging out, playing with toys, and then there's a little scuffle between some other kids, and Deku comes running over, and Deku says, "Stop picking on him. Leave him alone. Just because he doesn't have, just because he's different doesn't mean you should pick on him." And the other boy says, "Oh, what are you gonna do about it?" And Deku's like, I don't know." And this is when Turtle pipes up, like, "Why are you guys so mean?" And the boy's like, "So, what's your quirk?" And Deku kind of looks down and his tear kind of drops. He's like, "I'm quirkless." And the boy starts laughing at him. He's like, "You're quirkless, and they chose a quirkless loser for this?" And at that, like, things start to get a little, like, the kid's breath, like, frost kind of starts coming from their breath. And then there's another boy that they hear another kid laughing. It's like, "Oh man, you're quirkless, yet you stood up to him? Wow, you must be either be, like, stupid or brave." And Mizuku looks over and he sees a small kid with blonde hair and blue eyes kind of laughing and giggling. And then Izuku looks over and he sees another kid, and this kid starts saying, it's like, just because he has a quirk doesn't mean that she should be so mean to him. If you want to be a hero, you shouldn't act like that. You shouldn't treat people differently based on what they look like or their quirks. And the boy walks over and kind of picks Deku up a little bit because the other kids had shoved him as well. And he says, "Kid, you okay?" And Deku says, "Yeah, thanks." And at this, the one boy goes to, like, use his quirk where he summons, like, these balls that munch. Kind of like if you, in season 4, where Shoto, Katsuki, and the two kids that were there for the provisional extra class so that they can get their provisional licenses. Kid has, like, the dark balls that clamp down on people. At this, the boy with white and red hair shoots flame out one side of his body and immediately puts an ice wall up. And the kid kind of, like, goes, "Ah!" And, like, it's like, this isn't the last of this. And this is when the blonde-haired blue-eyed boy comes over. It's like, "Wow, you have a pretty nifty quirk there." And he kind of slaps the boy with white and red hair, and he's like, "Oh, so it's two different quirks. Wow." And the boy with white hair is like, "What did you just do?" And blonde hair, blue eyed boy says, "Well, my quirk's copy." And this is when Trip Pipe says, like, "Why did you guys interfere?" And blonde hair, blue eyed boy says, "Well, I'm better than you guys, but that still doesn't mean that people should, like, guys like that are only in it for the fame really irk me a little bit." I know. Shocking. And the red haired and white haired boy says, "Well, Papa, he always said people, like, heroes should be a symbol. Like, they should be the best of that you can be," which he says to protect people. And Deku says, "Well, like, thanks for the help." And wait, you guys aren't freaked out that I'm quirkless? And blonde haired, blue eyed boy says, "You're quirkless, but you got guts, kid." I kind of like that. It seemed pretty interesting, so I was like, I'm gonna try to see what's going on. And possibly I may have been able to show off my quirk using their own quirk against them. But you, hothead, you dealt with them, like, single-handedly. Wait a minute. What's your name, kid? And this is when the white-haired and red-haired boy says, "Oh, my name is Todoroki Shoto." And this is when Deku pipes was like, "Todoroki, wait, are you?" And Shoto's like, "Yeah, my dad's in Denver." And Deku's like, "That's awesome." So Shoto, Deku, Monoma, and Toru introduce themselves, and they start playing. And all the while, unbeknownst to the children, there's people upstairs, like in an observatory, kind of looking through double pane glass at this and writing down notes and stuff. And we cut back to the meeting, and Inko, Mr. Hagaguri, Monoma's mother, and even Endeavor's shocked at this. Like, Inji's like, Master, you mean to tell me that aliens exist and they chose our children for all these specific reasons? And Master, he pipes up at this and he's like, yes, Inji, Mother Midoriya, you probably are the one that's shocked about this the most. And I was like, well, I don't quite understand this, but if everything you're saying is true, and my boy can be a hero, and potentially, what's the requirements? And this is when a weird-looking guy with white/black and like some green highlights in it, and pointed ears and pink eyes, like glowing pink eyes, walks in the room. And Inji kind of steps back and he gets in a fight. He says, wait, you guys weren't joking. Is this guy even human? And this is when it pipes up. So as you can tell, these documents that you signed, the NDSA stuff that you signed, this is classified. And this is when the gentleman speaks up and he's like, my name's Val. Our species came in contact with... He looks over at Master and he's like, this gentleman here. And, well, we believe that the human race has great potential. And, well, we think that your children would be the best envoys of your people. For the next several years, they'll grow up here on this planet not knowing about our existence. And in a few years after they receive their training to get their bodies conditioned for our environments, they will leave planet and, well, one parent from each household will come. And this is a shock to all the parents, and they are a little concerned. So, the meeting is adjourned, and the parents are told that that their children, the nursery was actually set up for the first test. And if their children passed, that they would be brought in. Now, mind you, this conversation about the aliens isn't actually happening with the parents of the other kids. They are being told that it's a special training program to improve the next generation of heroes, more so than what's already out there. But because of who Master is, and a viewer has already in Discord has already guessed who it is, and we've talked about that. Which, plug in, if you join the Discord, I sometimes put out choices. I'm going to be doing choices where I've written this, and I have certain plot points that I will change based on what the viewers want for said path. It'll be like an option A or an option B. In Discord, it will be a little bit more liberal with that. That being said, back to our story. So, the children are gathered up, and on the ride home, Nico and Toru and Mr. Haguri are in the vehicle. And once they get dropped off, Deku says, "It was nice meeting you, Hagaguri." And Toru says, "It was nice meeting you too, Midoriya." And so they go inside, and Inko's begins to talk with Deku. It's like, so you became really, so the little girl, like, you guys had fun? And he's like, yeah, I met this one boy. He's a kid. He like Endeavor's his father, and he has like an amazing quirk. He has like an ice quirk and like a fire quirk, like his dad, apparently. And then there's this other boy. He had a copy quirk. He tried copying Toru's quirk, but it didn't really work out too well. But he did copy Todoroki's quirk, and it was pretty fun. We actually talked, and we all want to be like heroes that make people smile like All Might. And over the next few months, Deku is like, they have told Inko that will be a couple of months that they'll have decided. And we cut to a scene with Master and Prince Val. And Prince Val's like, Master, like, what was it like seeing them? And Master's like, it was pretty awesome. Got to actually see her in person. It's been a while since then. So, what is I can say? And Prince says, well, that's definitely you. But it's not you. I scanned the show that your assumption when you first arrived that you may have traveled to a different universe. With explaining how your quirk worked that you used to travel to us. You didn't actually travel billions of years. Like, apparently the universe you come from, Earth, is here. Is where that planet was, and that planet is here. I'm just assuming this. But if your quirk works the way it does, then that's the only explanation. How impossible it may be, it's the only thing that can fit. And then the prince says, are you sure about those four? Well, the other three, I'm pretty sure the young one, is just like you. And this is when Master speaks up. It's like, yeah, but he's quirkless, and we haven't interacted in any way that could potentially change that. We didn't gene alter anyone. We let the quirk system evolve the way it did, and it happened at the same pace. Like, even the interactions with All For One and my master's master, Nana, happened. As much as I wanted to interfere, and this is when Princess is like, yeah, I know, you probably wanted to interfere with that, but you had to let it ride out. And this is when Master, like, a tear kind of falls down his face. Say, yeah, it was rough watching since Sensei Yagi go through that again. And so this is a couple of months have passed. They have I will do a flashback for the training. Actually, I'm gonna get to the mentioning. So after 5 years of this, Izuku and Bakugo have actually stayed friends, because it's known that Izuku is getting training, and Katsuki has had a few interactions with Shoto, and Shoto being Endeavor's kid, because Izuku would meet up with Todoroki, and they would have playdates, and Katsuki would kind of come along. And when Katsuki found out that Shoto was Endeavor's kid, Todoroki kind of took that arrogance. One moment, the phone's ringing. Alright, sorry about the interruptions. I had a phone call. I'm at work. But basically, Shoto over these past 5 years has kind of made Katsuki, through the little interactions that he's had, lose his arrogance, thinking he's the best. Because Well, let's face it, Shoto, who has a father that is very keen on top of the training that he's been receiving from government and everything. And Katsuki has noticed some changes in Izuku. He's steadily gotten physically stronger, which has pushed Katsuki to train his body even more than he does in canon. So I would say that he would have his howitzer impact at the start of the anime, which is what the change would do at the start of the anime. And so, with that being said, we cut to about 6 years before the start of the first episode. And it's been reported that All Might has brought down a was in a fight with a villain. And the villain escaped, but due to All Might and Endeavor and an old hero that hadn't been seen in years, lots of lives were spared. But unfortunately, said villain had escaped. Meanwhile, Inji comes bursting through like a hospital door. He's like, Toshinori, you shouldn't have gone after him by yourself. You know that was damn crazy, right? Toshinori kind of laughs. Is like, yeah, but looks like you've got to step up your game because it looks like you're going to be the new #1 hero soon. And speaking of which, and Angie says, "What's this about?" And All Might says, "Yeah, like I've thought about it, and well, you have basically the same amount of support that I have with the public, and you're viewed as a symbol of peace as well. And well, my quirk will be able to help you pick up the slack. Because, quite frankly, I believe it's time for me to retire." So, with that being said, Inji says, well, I think it'd be best if you give it to my son. In a couple of years, he'll be able to withstand the quirk. He would be best for the quirk over me. So they do have their interactions with Shoto, and Shoto basically tells All Might and his father, and it's like, but wouldn't, he says, well, it would make my quirk stronger, but he thinks, and then he's like, but my friend, Izuku, like Izu-chan, he's quirkless, yet he's been able to beat me in a hand-to-hand fights, like, several times. I think if he got the quirk, he'd be able to be a great hero, like you, sir. Looking at All Might. And All Might kind of smiles, and so does Indy. And All Might kind of says, Indy, guess you were right. You probably wouldn't want it and pass it off to that other boy you mentioned. And this is when Indy says, yeah, but unfortunately, it'd be hard to talk to him. He's overseas now. In the back of Inji's mind, he's also thinking, and that one thing's going to happen soon. And that one thing's going to start to happen soon. So, eventually, it's explained, like All Might's brought into the fold about the Valerians, and he is shocked by this. And then he meets, he has a meeting in a couple of months with this master guy. Like the hero that showed up out of the blue with Endeavor. And so All Might's injury, he does get injured, but it's not to the extent that he was in canon. Instead of a 3-hour time limit, I would say he has a 16-hour time limit. And that's if he's not pushing it. If he's pushing himself, that drops down to about 10 hours. He'll lose if he's going at it all the time. But he would have the potential to do hero work for about 14 to 16 hours a day. Which then Endeavor kind of picks up the slack a little bit. Will be picking up the slack during this time. So that being said, you beautiful souls, I'm going to leave the interactions between Endeavor, actually, I have to go over it because otherwise the children are meeting Echo. So, no, actually, we'll cover the interactions between the Master and All Might in the next episode, so I can officially start episode 1 and carry over the end half of my pre-planned one with 2. So that being said, thank you, beautiful souls, again for the 1.5Ks subscription subs. And with this, I'm going to end this video here. I'll put a link in the description to my Discord. Go there. There's a bunch of the viewers will help decide the outcome of the story. Well, at least with this new Perfect Vessel Deku. The other one is a little treat that I haven't stored. So that being said, I will see you beautiful souls in the next video.